Hello, it's Katie Deruju. I want to share with you the second phase of yoga for a broken lower leg. So we'll go through a little bit of what we've already done, a quick recap just to warm you up. Shouldn't take more than 3 or 4 minutes. And then we'll start some of the new practices. First of all, we're going to start with the breath practice we used to complete the last session. So what you'll need is an ability to get on the floor. And I know that this can take a little bit of conscious awareness. How do I get on the floor? Especially in those first few weeks of a freshly broken leg. So we can look at that. And you'll also need a blanket, maybe a mat you can roll out to make the floor really accessible for the practice, and a towel. So a mat, blanket, and a towel. And let's go. So just fun, I thought I would try to get on the floor with a broken leg myself and see how I go, because this is what you're going to have to deal with. So I should give it a go too. There we go, that one worked. Let's try another one. Getting up. What about getting up off the floor? Have a chair or something close by that you can support yourself with. You may be able to come up onto one foot. I've got the flexibility to do that. You may not, and you may prefer to come up onto the knee. Take a little bit of weight on that broken leg, or just go change knees, take the weight off completely. The main thing is taking the weight off the leg as you come down. So probably the best way is the leg forward and sitting on the bottom. And then coming up, again, trying to take the weight off the leg as much as you can. You can have the foot on the floor. Here you've got all the points supporting you. Hand on the floor, hand on the chair, other foot. You might be able to come up from a low squatting position. See how you go. Safely and mindfully making your way to the floor. Once you're there, really celebrate that, you've got total mobility, total safety. So this is a really great position to be in. So we can have a little mini celebration that what we're going to do here on in will be easily accessible to you without any awkwardness or discomfort. Okay, so to start our breath practice, we're actually going to open up the chest a little. So you'll see here I've got a blanket. You can use a couple of towels folded up neatly and flat. So don't rush the folding process, because you need to have quite clean lines and even flatness. It's just a couple of inches in height. And what that will do is it'll go under the back of our rib cage to open the chest and help the breathing practice. So I think bottom of my ribs, so you just want to feel bottom of your ribs is about there, coming back down. The top of the blanket will not be anywhere near the back of your neck. So the head goes on the floor, the neck is free, and there's space for the shoulders, the arms, to come out on that top side of the blanket, resting onto the floor itself. So that the blanket is really only behind the ribs, not behind the upper shoulders, not behind the neck. The knees are bent initially just to make sure the lower back is comfortable. You can swing the knees a little from left to right. There's never any rush to come into a breath practice, really making sure the body's comfortable. A few little bends of the knee into the body. If you feel ready, you can extend the legs to straight. Otherwise, keep the knees bent up. Make sure the arms are comfortable, top of the shoulders, kind of resting down. At any point, if it's too much, you can simply take the hands onto the heart, onto the belly. That's absolutely fine. So for me, I'm wanting to come up just a little bit higher on that blanket. That feels more comfortable. So take the time to wriggle. Close the eyes. Breathing in and then sighing out the mouth. Breathing in through the nose. Sighing out the mouth. And then simply rest for a few natural breaths. And you're just taking your awareness on the breath and how it feels. If the breath feels a little difficult to really feel in the body, I encourage you to place one hand on the belly and one hand on the chest, just to feel how the breath moves the body as the inhalation expands the belly, expands the chest. And the exhalation empties the belly and the chest sinks a little. Once you can really feel the distinct difference between the expansive inhale and the release of the exhale, you can come back with the arms in that open chest position by the side of the shoulders. Eyes are closed and we begin our 3-part breath. So we're going to breathe in 1/3, nice and low down into the belly if possible. Hold. Breathe in 2/3. Hold. And breathe in the final third. Hold. Slowly let the breath release. Breathe in 1/3, low into the belly. Pause. 2/3. Pause. 3/3. Pause and be as relaxed as you can with this expanded inner body. So the forehead is relaxed, the jaw, the mouth. And then slowly, comfortably let the breath come out of the body. Continue 3 more rounds of the Viloma breath, the 3-part stepped breath. Don't feel at all rushed or like you're trying to get anywhere. This is a non-linear practice. Non-linear means it's not getting from A to B. Instead, it's explorative. Your mind is allowed to be curious. Where is the breath in the body? What do I feel? Am I pushing or am I being quite gentle and discerning? One last round. And exhale all the way out. Rest here. As you rest, some of you may have the question, how can lying on my back breathing be helpful for a broken leg? So I'm just going to talk you through just a little bit about the logic behind how a supine, lying on the back, breathing practice is a relevant and important aspect of rehabilitation. So we see the person as a whole unit. We see the body as a part of that wholeness of the human being. And the body has a phase that is a healing phase. And that healing phase happens on a cellular level. So it's called an anabolic phase when we are in deep rest, when we're not doing things, we're not even busy thinking things. So, for example, in sleep, that's a really healing time for the body. But we can do it in our conscious daily life as well, which is very good for us on an emotional level and psychological level to have stillness. So lying down doing the breath practice gives us that deep healing time, which takes us out of the sort of upregulated, adrenalized phase of activation and into a nice healing phase of the parasympathetic nervous system. So we get to consciously be aware of what it feels like to be calm, to have deeper, more rhythmic breaths, and to feel the body settle into what might be called a more grounded state, a more integrated state. So we're not pulling ourselves out of our body to achieve a task in life. We're not dominating the body by asking it to do things it's not comfortable doing, which often happens in, for example, exercise scenarios or gym work. We're actually connecting and integrating. And essential to that is being able to feel. And you might notice that as we're lying on the back, we're more relaxed, as we're doing the breath practice, all we're really doing is feeling. We're feeling the breath expand and contract. We're feeling what's happening in our body. And so that is a skill that is really worthy of learning, particularly as you're rehabilitating a part of your body. Not only do we want a more anabolic state throughout the whole of our system to help the repair of the tissues of the injured part of the body, we also want the ability to feel the injured part of the body in order to reintegrate it. Now, being able to feel might mean not having accidents, sort of being unaware where our foot is and then we trip on something and have another accident on top of the old injury. Being able to feel might mean during your rehab, you'll be able to notice differences between the inside and the outside of the leg, difference between the front and the back, differences between your left hip and your right hip, differences in lower back discomfort or alignment. So that ability to really sense and feel is actually almost a superpower that you get through a yoga therapy practice, a yogic awareness practice. So as we're doing the breath practice, we're laying the foundation for healing of the whole being. So let's continue the next phase of the breath practice. So we've reviewed the breath practice from the last session. This time we're going to extend it a little. If you're comfortable, the legs go straight. And what we're going to do is we're going to take a very full, deep breath in. Belly expands, lower lungs, upper chest. Feel that full breath come in. We're going to hold the breath. And then when we're ready to exhale, we're only going to exhale the breath from the belly. So the expanded belly will simply sink down. And there will be no sinking movement of the chest itself. At the end of that exhale, the chest is still high. Then we allow the chest to release and the final bit of the breath to come out. So let's do that together. Breathing in a deep breath, filling lower belly, lower lungs, upper chest. Hold. The chest remains lifted. The belly settles down as you exhale. The chest is lifted. Almost might feel like you're stretched through the front body, broad across the front of the chest. And then finally you exhale and the chest can relax down. Deep, long inhale. Don't stress yourself out though, just enough to feel full but not stressed. Hold. When you're ready, lower belly releases down with the out-breath, but chest is lifted, remains completely in the same position. And finally, the chest will sink as the breath exits completely. I'll talk you through 3 more. Breathing in fully. Hold. Keep the chest lifted as you exhale, belly flattens. Let the chest sink as the breath moves all the way out. Deep inhalation. Pause. When you're ready, exhale, belly flattens. Chest releases. Deep inhalation. Pause. In yoga, the holding of the breath in like this is called Anta. Let the belly flatten as you exhale. Chest is broad and lifted. And finally, chest sinks. Breath is all the way out. Last one. Pause. Really puff up the center of the chest. Really feel the expanded space of the inner rib cage. Belly flattens on the exhale. Chest releases. And return to your natural breath. If you like, again, hands can be resting on the body or wherever's most comfortable as you rest. Acknowledge the anabolic state of healing, of a calm nervous system. The idea that the body can integrate. The idea that you can sense and feel in new ways. And slowly we're going to come up. So depending on which leg is the broken leg, you'll shift your bottom to one side and have the broken leg on top for now and come to lying on the side. So you've got the blanket here and it'll be underneath the side ribs and you can just rest the hand underneath the head. Stretching the top leg to straight, flexing the foot and then pointing, flexing and pointing. Make sure that you've got your top ribs stacked over your bottom ribs, top hip over bottom hip, so you're not back or forward as you point and flex. Rotate through the ankle and rotate the other way. So another reason we don't do this in an upright position or a seated position is it's really good to be on the floor and it's really good to be horizontal for the body. It changes the pressure on all of the organs, on all of the system. Anything that gets you out of your daily work day habit tends to be quite nourishing for the body. A big strong point and then relax the foot, just the knee bends up towards the body and extends away. Bends up and extends away. Now this top leg is the broken leg, the one that we are looking after. So just notice how you feel. And it might even be wanting to really make friends with the lower leg. You might have a steel rod through that leg that you want to integrate as yours. And you might be really proud of having that extra strength, that titanium leg like a superhero, or you might feel like it's something that isn't quite yours. So I want to take the time to play here. So we're coming forward and back now with the leg. Just quite happily and content. So remember, we're not doing exercises. We are feeling, oh, what happens when my hip goes back? How does that feel when I come forward? How does my lower leg feel as a part of this movement? Does it feel it's connected to the thigh? That it's really working with me, with my body, my leg and my hip? That it's becoming a part of me? And then rest, knee, ankle together. That might have been quite tiring for you, particularly if you've only just done this for the first time. So really take the time here to rest and just build up how many up and downs you do, how many forwards and backs you do over time. This next one is a little lift of the knee and then a lower of the knee. Again, keeping this top hip over the bottom hip and not rocking the hip back as a knee lifts. Really mindful. You can take very light touch of the fingertips onto the hip bone just below the waist to just check that it's relatively still. A few more of these movements. You might not like this pose, so you want to acknowledge things like that. I find this pose to be kind of awkward and weird. Yeah, so I don't like it. And it's nice for me to acknowledge, I really don't like this pose. It's kind of ugly. I don't really like clams that much. And this is called clam pose. And it can be good to acknowledge things like that, because if we don't know what we think and feel, then it can have power over us. Whereas if we know, I really don't like that pose, let's see how much I don't like it today. It could be interesting. Or let's see if I like it a bit more today. So you can be in a conversation about how you feel about a pose rather than just, I don't want to do it and I don't know why. So again, this is yoga awareness, yoga therapy. Coming up to sitting, see how you feel in this position here and how the hip feels. You may not have full kind of flexibility to do this, so we're just going to come forward to the floor and then upright, forward to the floor and then upright. So it's going to be like a push-up. Both hands can come onto the blanket, chest towards the floor, nose towards the floor in this twisted position for the body. See how that feels for you. So again, we're not focusing on the part that is healing or injured, we're focusing on the whole body. Once more. Great. Take a breath. Notice how you feel. From here, I just want to give the broken part of the leg that is now the healing leg. So we won't call it the broken leg anymore. From here on in, we're going to call it the healing leg. We're going to give that healing leg a little bit of a rub. You can give it a squeeze along the calf using the thumb at the back, and just every half inch or inch, give it a little squeeze as the thumb palpates up the back of the calf muscle. Coming around to more the top side of that back calf muscle, the outer side, but still behind the bone. Have a little feel. And think about where the injury was and where the healing's happening. So you don't want to directly press into any of the insertion points of the surgery, and you don't want to directly press in the areas where you feel there was a break, particularly if you've got the fibula also with a fracture. You might do a little squeeze around the fractured fibula rather than directly on. So going front and back with the fingers, almost like a little pinching action. Give the upper thigh a bit of a rub as well so it doesn't get jealous, the lower leg, and definitely give the foot a really good rub and squeeze. You can stretch the toes while you do that, get a bit of expression in the foot. So from there, thumb in, fingers wrap around, and it's just, so there's a bit of air in here. You almost want to hear a sound. There's a light tapping that we do, sole of the foot, top of the foot, up through the shin bone, around, Just a light tapping. Now remember, we're just getting used to being on the knees, so tap around the knee as well. Tap the thigh and buttocks. I'm quite light in this hand on the floor just because I'm actually using my core strength. So please don't be all digging into the wrist or anything like that. Keep it quite light. The blanket's a nice support. Tap, 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 tap. Rub any way you want. Scratch if you like, just for a little bit more getting the sensation in the leg, getting those nerves sensitized again, not overly sensitized. And finish off any way that feels good. Could be a squeeze, could be a rub, could be a tap. You'll know what to do. Great, that side is done. So we're going to swing around to the other side. From where you are, the best way to do that is through Bhujangasana that we have been practicing. So we will go through our cobra pose. So I'd like you to get the weight in the hands. This underside foot, you can come onto the knee, and the top leg very lightly touching down. So we're not coming into like a kneeling position as such. It's just a touch to see how you feel. And if you really don't want the knee on the floor yet, come to elbows and gently slide back. You can have the tops of the feet on the floor, elbows under shoulders, wrists aligned with the forearm, with the hand. Heavy in the elbows, light and broad across the shoulders. And taking a few breaths here. The heart might come a little forward and up, really feeling that similar feeling to what we had in the breath practice. This expanded chest. The inhale is a little more conscious here. Another breath. And when you're ready, we'll come to the other side. So for you, you will want to be able to face your screen. So, and I'm doing the same, you might just want to come back to that comfortable position that we're at, the familiar position, swap your blanket to the other side, and wriggle your way around. I will lie with the blanket under the ribs, a little bit lower, ribs more than armpit, so I'm nice and free through the armpit. And ankles, knees together, heels are pretty much in line with lower back, straighten the top leg, and you can point and flex through the foot. Again, really grateful that we can be on the floor, that we can be horizontal, that we've got this time now for healing to get into a lovely, calm, anabolic state. What are the other states? Well, there's catabolic, which is where your body's literally breaking things down. And there's metabolic, which we're really used to, and that's creating the energy. Turning food into our body. And hopefully that food is really organic and nutritious and lots of fresh vegetables. You can bend the knee and straighten. Really think about how you're nourishing this body as it heals, what the bones really need, and avoiding as much allopathic medicines as possible and anything that's, chemical for the body that can really deplete the bones, and they can cause more problems than good. So just taking what you need to take, what your medical provider, your medical expert says is required. And if you feel that you want a second opinion, then I really encourage you to go and get a second opinion. This is a time for healing, and if that means you want to start seeing a naturopath or a nutritionist, then it could really be a great opportunity. And we can really transform the way we eat. We're not stuck in our habits. You can just sometimes take good advice, even the right word or the right idea in our head, and we suddenly are really switched on that you want what's really great for you and you don't care for things that make you feel dull or heavy or unwell. Might even take a hold of that top leg. So this is not the broken leg side. We're just evening it up. So you might be able to take a hold and give that quad a bit of an extra stretch. And up and down just to see how that feels. Good. Bending the knee for our much despised clam pose. You're allowed to despise the movements you're doing as long as you can laugh at it, huh? Maybe you love this one, but it's a love-hate relationship because I can feel how incredibly good it is for my inner thigh and for the outer buttocks. Like I feel like a part of me that was asleep is getting turned on. But it's not really that happy about getting turned on. It's like, oh my God, are you exhausting me? Just let me do something beautiful rather than what I call hard work. So this is the hard work clam pose. We can get energy out of hating something. So this is a great time. If you want to hate something, laugh about how much you don't like this. Oh, I just enjoy afterwards when it's finished. Oh my God, that's so good. So how we approach things, how we process things is what matters most, not just the thing itself, yeah? It's how we're relating to it that is of interest, and that's where we have a lot of power in our life. Let's rest here for a little while. How you relate to these practices, to the body, can be really joyful, exploratory, rewarding. Because this is where your being is. Yeah? Your life's not out there in some fantasy. This is where you actually are. This is where you sense and feel. This is where your heart is. You know, on even a deeper level, you could think this is where your soul is. Right now, the soul is residing in this physical vessel, the body. How splendid is that? I like to let the eyes look around when I rest. It's got a really nice sort of vagal tone, calming of the nervous system effect. The vagus nerve is going to really help us connect from belly all the way through heart to brain. So it's the integrating aspect. So feel free to just let your eyes wander. I always like to do my yoga in a room that has something pleasing in it. So it could be plants or something beautiful or some arrangement that I like, something I want to look at that pleases me. So that's part of having the eyes happy to explore and look and be grateful for what they see. Okay, from there we'll come up. You can use your hand on that blanket that you folded so beautifully. So this is your not healing leg. It's healed. It was never broken, let's say, but it wants a little bit of love. So we'll just do a bit of a rub, bit of a squeeze, because if you think about it, it's probably taken on a lot of the load. So yeah, definitely say thanks to this leg. Tell it that very soon it'll have a partner who will share the load evenly. And then a bit of a tap with that open kind of fist. Give the foot a rub, stretch the toes, spread the toes and stretch them, squeeze them. Good, now we'll come around again. So this time as you come around onto the knees, I want to see if we can stay on the knees and put a fair bit of weight into the knees. You can get rid of your blanket if you like. And from there, coming into a cat position. We're going to tuck the tail around the spine, chin to chest. See how you feel. Lift the heart and look up. Lift the tailbone. A couple more of this integrating spinal roll. Integrating from the head all the way down through the pelvis, along the length of the spine. Integrating ribs with spine. Ribs with arms, shoulder blades. And come back to center. So we're going to take a little bit of weight off the healing leg side. You're just going to bend that knee in and then send the foot back. A little bend and kick, bend and kick, bend and kick. So you can feel how that's, really quite nice to develop a little more strength in the thigh. Good movement in the hip joint. And from there, we're going to flex the foot, take the ball of the foot to the floor and just roll a little from side to side over the ball of the foot. So the toes are tucked under, a little bit of a massage and stretch for those toes. And then we're going to tap 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then you're going to point the toe and tap the top of the foot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Bend the knee out to the side and then tap. Bend the knee to the side, tuck the toe and tap. Bend the knee to the side, top of the foot. Bend the knee to the side, tuck the toe and tap. Bend the knee to the side, top of the foot taps. Bend the knee to the side, tuck the toe, ball of the foot. Have a little rest, bend the knee. Just find a comfortable resting position for you. You might be able to take the hips back and see how that knee goes, how the calf feels. See how far back you can go gently. And then we'll come up. Again, on the healing leg side, the knee goes out to the side. I'd like to see if you can do a little bit of circular motion with that knee. So it's kind of similar to the clown position in terms of we're really working the outer hip. Let's go the other way. Inner thigh. Looking after the lower back as we strengthen that thigh, pelvic area, and then let the knee come down. Tuck the toes and see if you can take the knees off the floor, lower down. Let's go for the other side. So we're going to untuck the toes and do a little piston of the leg into the chest and back, into the chest and back. Breathing as you go. And kick back, flex the foot, ball of the foot to the floor, roll over those balls of the feet, massage those toes, stretching those toes under. Good. And then the knee comes out to the side, top of the foot to the floor, tap, tap, tap. Knee comes out to the side and flex the foot under. Knee comes out to the side, top of the foot, knee comes out to the side, ball of the foot, knee to the side, top of the foot, knee to the side, ball of the foot. Knee will come out to the side and you'll do those circular motions. Other way. And lower the knee down. So I'm curious as to how your leg will feel as it touches the ground from different angles. So let's begin widening the knees. So now you've got more the inner knee on the floor. Just if it's too much, come back to normal. Toe tips touch at the back. Take the hips back and forward, back and forward, back and forward. Take the knees back under, and now we're going to have healing leg side. Knee comes forward. Foot might come a little bit across. Now, if you can't get that foot past the bottom knee, don't go across at all. Only if you can get it past. Walk the hands forward, make space. And we're just going to play with the idea that this foot could move across. And if you can stay there for a few breaths. Have a little play with the pelvis going back and down, settling into a position. So you're just sort of rolling over that shin bone. There's a little bit of weight on the calf. Have a little play with movement here. So this will be a new position for the leg to feel. It's a uncommon position, which is what we're wanting to do in the safest, most comfortable way. Get the leg experiencing all different possibilities of position, orientation, of pressure, of having to relate to a different positioned knee, a different positioned ankle. And once you've had enough, just very safely take the weight off the leg by pressing into the hands and slide the foot back and rest in whatever resting pose suits you. So it might be hips going back. You might have been comfortable with the wide knees, hips going back. See what feels right for you. And you know, something as simple as this pose can never be underestimated. So this is like a child's pose. The leg is basically being compressed, yeah? And that compression creates like a pump where what's inside that leg now has to work a lot harder to do its job, like the blood flow, the inside of the leg, the vessels that run through the leg will be experiencing that pressure, and that can create tone in those vessels themselves. So this pressure is a really valuable asset. And let's go for the other side. Take the weight into the hands. Hands come forward, knee comes forward. If the foot passes the back leg, you can take it across. So this is your non-healing leg. You might go a little bit deeper. See how the back leg feels. Take a few breaths. If you are really comfortable, come onto the elbows. Another breath. Think about that state of healing, of calm. Let your breath be aligned with that state of calm. Into the lungs, into the belly, out of the belly, out of the lungs. Rhythmic flow of breath. An opportunity for you to not be getting from A to B, but to be able to sink into this body and into the soulful moment of just being. As you're ready, take more of the weight down through the hands, lift a little with the knee and take the hips back. You might rest in child's pose if that was a possibility for you. If it was not a possibility for you, you may want to very quickly take that pressure off the knee by coming again into Bhujangasana. And you can rock the hips a little from side to side. Make sure that's comfortable on the knee, because you'll be able to feel that that's actually rocking the knee as well. And then rest completely. You can take one hand on top of the other, forehead onto the hands, or forehead onto the mat and hands by the hips. Close the eyes and rest. Take the hands by the side of the chest, put yourself up, swing the knees to one side and coming onto your hip. So I've done a good warm up. You're able to see what you can and can't do by now. So if you can do everything up to this point, you might like to continue to this phase of the practice. So we're going to take the top foot in front and the back leg straightens. Feel supported with your arm, so elbow is under shoulder, forearm can be supporting on the ground and the hand in front. And we're going to play with the idea that we can lift and lower this bottom leg. So get a sense that you can lift and lower the bottom leg. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Pause and rest. Top knee will gently send away just to open the hip a little bit more. Roll to the blade edge of the foot. Foot back on the floor. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I can see that I'm starting to lift with the foot before I lift with the leg. So let's just pause. Let's point the toes slightly and activate the foot and ankle so they're connected through to the shin, right through the thigh, right through the hip and up into the core of the body. So you really feel there's one connected straight line going right out through the ball of the big toe. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Good. We're going to change sides. You can come up, both knees bend, and swing to the other side. So I hope you've got your screen in a really comfortable place for you to see. Foot in front, underside leg to straight. Let's really connect that underside leg. Can point the foot a little bit, activate the muscles around ankle, calf, knee, thigh, through the pelvis, right up through the spine. A connection. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Open the knee back. Roll to the blade edge of the foot. See that feels comfortable for you? So this is the healing leg side and you do have a fraction in the fibula, so that smaller outside bone. Just check that this feels okay for you. One more breath. The foot will come back to the floor, knee directly over ankle, lower leg connected all the way through from foot, ankle, lower leg, thigh to core strength. Last one. And we're going to rest. Lying onto the back. So this is the floor work completed for today. There will be some heel raises that you will want to do, some standing work. But for now, we're just going to rest. Close the eyes, rest the hands on the belly. Knees can be bent or legs can be straight along the mat, depending on what's comfortable for you. Don't control the breath in any way, just let it settle in its own time. So we're consciously aware of this body in a process of settling. What is it to watch the breath freely connect with the needs of the body? The body might still feel quite activated having done the exercises. Where we can feel this movement towards calm, quiet, ease in the body. And just knowing that once you get to that calmer, quieter place, that we can just stay there, we can linger. Soak it in, deep into our bones, deep into our cells, deep into our tissue. Soaking in the healing quality. of stillness and silence. And many of us come to a YouTube video wanting quick answers, wanting like a pill that will just be the sudden quick solution. Well, I say that this stillness and silence, this expanse of endless time to deeply rest, is actually what we're really looking for. That it meets our needs in a truer way, in a more genuine and authentic way. And so I just invite you to see if that's how you feel. As you breathe in and out. I'd like to thank you for your company today. And thank you for letting me be company for you. It's an honour to be in your presence and make my way into your home and into your body's movements. So we're going to come into a little bit of movement. You can open the eyes, have a little stretch, and again that friendly feeling with the leg. You might do some of the movements we did in the first session where you lift, turn, open. The body might really crave those movements now after practicing it for a week or so. The twisting of the toe in and out, the opening of the leg. And the more familiar these are, the more joy that they can give you. Once you've had a bit of a play and you're ready, safely, using any supports you need, make your way up to sitting. So I'm going to finish in cross legs. I do not expect you to sit in cross legs. You might actually be able to just hold on to the knees. That could be a really workable position to finish in, or have one leg down and the healing leg up. Whatever's comfortable for you. One day, as inspiration only, you may be able to come into lotus position, Padmasana. So anything's possible. Don't do it if you have any knee issues. Don't do it if you've got a broken leg. I know I don't have to say it, but I better not be too playful. Come to a comfortable position. Hands in front of the heart. Thank you so much for this time. All the best with your healing. One more session to look at the standing poses and taking weight on the foot.